I was just telling Vash beforehand as I interrupt him, which fits. Sorry for talking so much before. I have a thing where if I hear silence, I must nip that in the bud immediately and start talking.
I don't think people understand, like generally, how difficult it is sometimes to translate the impetus of making online content to doing stuff in person. I don't know about you. For me, not seeing chat right now, psychotic. You know,
Oh, it feels
I feel
weird,
like a
yeah.
leg is missing.
Right. And on top of that, like, if you're sitting in front of the computer doing a stream and you're silent for a little bit, it's assumed that, like, oh, they're reading the chat or they're doing something.
Yeah.
But if we're just sitting here together and there's even a second of silence, it just, not only, I assume it looks awkward, but it certainly
Everyone
feels,
in chat's like, wow.
it certainly
yeah.
feels awkward. Like, I'm sitting next to you and we're just like, even for a second, it feels bizarre. So I gotta immediately start talking.
No, I get it. I remember with the computer thing too, especially. I remember the 2 times that I went over to Tim Pool's. Not having a computer in front of me, very disarming actually. You know, especially because his content manager, his handler, did as well. You know, it's like a superpower. Once you have that taken away from you,
Right.
you're just like, you know, where my hands go, where do I look when I'm not like directly speaking, all of these normal human skills. But you know, we're sort of.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, speaking of the Tim Pool appearance, I think we've discussed this maybe. I did bring this up to Lance when he went on. And I should mention, I guess we are some of the few people who've been on that show who are progressives, right?
Yeah, we survived the compound.
You, me, Lance, and Emma Vigland. Lance of the Surfs, I should say.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else who went on that's progressive? I think that's it, the 4 horsemen.
Yeah, I don't want to miss anyone because I'd feel bad if but yeah, no, it's not many. He's got a pretty cool compound, huh?
It was very cool to see. Yeah, I mean, it certainly is. You can tell he's making money on YouTube. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, God, yes. It feels like, I don't know, man. Meeting with him in person was so strange too, because like, I have to assume that past a certain level, like it's always, especially with to an extent of grift, like they'll say anything, you know?
Yeah.
So we're not getting away from that. But even when the cameras were off, he was like, you want to see my 3D printer? And it's just like, I don't know what's psychological, because I feel like emotionally, right, if he was consistent with his beliefs, he should hate me.
Right.
Because I hate him. I'm like, he represents so much harm broadly, you know? So, but like, it's not represented in the behavior. I don't know if it's a power play thing.
Oh, he did similar things to me.
Then it must be. It has to be then.
When I got there, I met all of his. First of all, if people don't know, I don't know how many people he's got living there, but he's got all of his buddies hanging out there. I'm not even just talking about the people who you see on stream, like just random guys who are just there all the time, it seems. And when I got there, I met all of them. They were all very nice or whatever.
Everyone was very nice.
Everyone's very nice. Yes, I'm not good. We're telling the truth. I get to this. They bring me up to the studio where they recorded the show, where they streamed the show. Tim comes in for the first time. Immediately takes one of his swords off the wall, and starts cleaning it in front of me with a cloth. And
seriously?
Yeah, and he's like,
psychotic.
And nice to meet you. I was like, nice to meet you too. Is this like a power move, right? And then he shows me like this Civil War era gun that supposedly that's what it is. What we referred to it as. That was like leaned against the wall in the corner. And he's like, oh, you want to go check it out? And I went over and I looked at it and I was like, oh, it's pretty cool. And he's like, I guess he was assuming I was going to pick it up or something. I don't remember if he asked me to pick it up, but I didn't. I ended up not picking it up. But the reason I didn't is because he told me it's a Civil War era gun. I don't know how old it is. Like, I don't know.
Crumbled to
I don't.
dust.
Yeah, I don't want to pick it up and it crumble to
yeah.
dust. And apparently, according to someone who watched the stream, this is secondhand sourcing. I didn't see this. But on a later stream, he brought up how he had some leftist on his show who was too afraid to touch his gun.
Oh wait, I remember that. I remember him saying that.
I'm assuming he's talking about me.
I didn't know that was.
But I wasn't afraid to touch the gun.
It's all a power
because
play
I didn't want to.
man.
I didn't want to ruin his Civil War relic. That's why. I have no problem touching a gun.
After the Tim Pool thing, I'm not doing any more in-person appearances at other people's things because you never like it's. You're gonna show up and it's gonna be like the man with the golden gun with his House of Fun mirrors or whatever. You know, like hey Vosh, do you like this? And it's like a fucking clown maze I have to navigate. It's a whole thing with these people. I don't know. I feel like it's It's like thresholds of normalcy because, and I'm projecting perhaps here from my experience, but like with me, I stream, it's just like a computer in a room and then I chill. It's like my house. And then when you get large enough like Tim Pool, it's this big career thing and he's got the compound with the 50 friends and all the antiquities strewn about as conversation starters.
Did you get your picture drawn, by the way?
I did, yeah.
For people who don't know, they have a wall. When you get there, they have someone who draws a portrait of you. He does this with all of his guests, and they put it on their guest wall, which I wasn't expecting. That was very. It was a bit of a interesting, fun fact of the compound.
It's very grandiose. One might say like a little megalomaniacal, a little like King in his village. I feel personally.
Right.
It's very strange to me. I don't get it. I don't even have a point. I'm not even like getting it anymore.
Right.
This is just kind of crazy.
This is the first. I mean, there's not many of us who've been there, so it's nice to meet someone and have that shared experience to talk about.
Yeah, that's like unloading trauma from the experience.
Right. Did you get invited for a little bit of poker and sushi with the boys like Emma Vigeland did? Because I didn't. I was very disappointed. If I was offered sushi, I would have taken up that offer.
I think they asked me if I wanted to go to dinner afterwards, but not anything like that. It wasn't like poker and sushi. Wow. That sounds cooler, but I declined because the flight.
Wow, I guess they didn't like me. I did not get offered a dinner. Tim Pool did not.
It might have, no, because I remember that the way Emma described it with the I didn't get offered that at all. It was literally like, oh, if you want to grab a bite or something. So I think they were trying to get her up especially. I have to, because Emma stonewalled the whole thing in like a very respectable fashion, right, if I might say. So I don't know. I feel like from their end, that was a way of trying to like compensate or like, like loosen her, like break through the incredible fucking like wall, stone wall. Yeah, exactly. Which I get from a rhetorical perspective from them, which is why I'm glad she said no, of course, because
Right. I mean, I went in with a different idea. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna talk to his. I'm gonna like take it as maybe you had the same thing in mind. I'm gonna like just act as if I'm talking to his audience. They're gonna get someone that they're not the type of. I'm going to obviously be a progressive because that's who I am, but they're going to get. I'm not going to like show up and give them like the rhetoric that they think I'm going to. And interestingly, I on my own stream I take calls, and for a few weeks after I get people from the show calling and being like, yeah, I thought some of the points you made were really good. I wanted to talk. I mean, I don't know. Calling in and that was that.
No, it's good. That's the best feeling there is. Yeah. That's the best there is. I think Emma came in at a massive disadvantage. I'm throwing out the hot take here. She's a woman. Tim Pool's audience, I gotta say, that shit gotta be like 99.999% male, man. That is like a hard lead. Yes. Like I feel like Jordan Peterson has to have a higher percentage of women.
I thought she did better than all of us, respectively. I thought she.
I think she fully 100%. I think that stonewalling was the best way too, because environment like that, I feel always there's no way to avoid gotchas if enough people are ready to tee them up for you, or if they can talk over you. So being obstinate sometimes feels like it's the only way forward, and especially when you're a chick too, because people's biases are preset. There's going to be a lot of people in chat being like, you own that bitch or whatever, over nothing.
Right. I was on the show right after Tim Pool made a post. This was right during like when the Supreme Court was about to take up Roe v. Wade, and Tim Pool made this I don't remember exactly what it was. But I can't remember. He made a purposely provocative tweet about abortion that made him go viral. He was trending. So when I went on, he wanted to make the whole episode basically about pinning me down on my beliefs on abortion, and they did not like that. My opinion came down to whatever the woman who is pregnant or is considering an abortion wants due to what's best for her health. That's my position. That's what I agree with. And they were not happy with that. They were like, you're obfuscating, you're not, telling us what you believe. I was like, no, I am. You're just not accepting that that's what I believe.
They tried to get me to talk abortion with Charlie Kirk. I fucking hate abortion debates. I despise them because
it's also bizarre to do when it's a room full of guys.
It's also just like the thing that bothers me about it personally is I know for a fact that conservatives don't care about abortion because they don't care about childcare or anything that goes into the health or life or well-being of anyone ever at any point. So it's not that. It's about controlling women, because if women can't have abortions, that means that they're really easy to socially lock down. You can't really work past a certain point in pregnancy. And, you know, it's like there's a reason why abortion rights are like critical to feminism. Like you literally can't get around that, because otherwise your shit's locked in. You get fucked or raped or whatever. And I wish I could talk to that. I wish I could say, why do you feel the need to control their bodies so much? But that's like a soy liberal thing is the thing. Controlling women's bodies is the thing they expect.
That was the same mindset I had when I went on. I was like, I'm purposefully not gonna use the sort of cliche sort of slogans or words or phrases that they expect, because I want them to sort of see that, like, I want them to see beyond that, because they're so stuck in that. Like when you try to bring up like the cost of like college and like the student loan issue, what is their go-to? Oh, why? So you could spend $50,000 on a gender studies degree or something like that. They are so locked into like the trope of like a South Parkian trope of what like a liberal or progressive is. And like if you could break through that and actually talk about what the policies or your beliefs actually entail without using that rhetoric, I find that you actually break through, even if like they don't realize it.
Yeah, their positions are very weak, but they have a lot of thought-terminating cliches that get activated by one of like 60,000 things you could say.
Like if they hear something, like you could be making total sense, but then you'll say something that they've come to expect from their right-wing influence audience.
Like problematic or whatever.
Yes.
And then it's like, nope, every argument before this point, nah, it's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. And they get, problematic, what, like genders.
Right.
And then it's over. Like their brain is like fit back into the grooves that have been carved into it by the media they watch.
So like if you could avoid that, if you could avoid those cliches, I think like, again, you're not going to change 100%, but I do think in all of these right-wing audiences, there are people who are confused, lost, ignorant to specific issues, who if you can break through with different messaging that gets across the same thing, then I find that they're open to a lot of these things.
I'm sorry, I just thought of this. I thought like, because you know the controlling women's bodies thing, I was wondering if there was a hypothetical you could build around that to try to like circumnavigate, like to avoid the pitfall. I wonder if you asked a conservative pundit, you were like, what if there was a procedure invented where a pregnant woman could transfer the pregnancy into like a viable external womb that would operate with 100% efficiency and the baby will be fine, like totally normal, right? And will be given to like an adoptive system, you know, like the orphanages or whatever upon birth. Would you be fine with that? And all of them would say no. And then what would they have to say to justify that? It'd be like, well, it's not natural. But then you'd have to argue past that, because they wouldn't like that the woman could do that and then go get fucked again, right?
They're already falling into this trap, but I don't think people are making enough of a big deal about it because they know it's a trap, and they use rhetoric that is opposite to how they vote. We're talking about at least Republican politicians, but the IVF issue is a perfect example.
That's true, and they're getting their.
These are actually families, men and women, who both decide together that they really want kids.
They're kicking their own asses over this. It's like nobody wants this, but then you have like some lunatics in the courts or whatever who are like, finally, they missed the mark. Much like with IVF, much like with Roe v. Wade, the conservative movement seems to be about chasing policy goals that actually make everyone unhappy when they get it, even their own constituents. And then it backfires. Like the Roe v. Wade thing has backfired massively. Polling for women has shifted like nationwide on every level.
It has been the winning position for Democrats. That's why they're like bucking the trend of like, you know, typically the incumbent president's party has the struggle in to get reelected or get, take the House or the Senate. It's been sort of the opposite. Like, Democrats in Congress are doing better than their president, the Democratic president, which is not usually always the case. I mean, typically there's a struggle, and to bring it back around to this event, there's one candidate in NY16 who's endorsed by Planned Parenthood.
I see. Latimer.
No, Jamal Bowman, right? It, in fact, is the first time ever, I believe, that Hillary Clinton endorsed the candidate
The opposition, yeah.
who is not endorsed by Planned Parenthood in a race.
Which is crazy. Bowman should be like lauding the. Actually, a week ago in an interview, he said that Hillary Clinton's endorsement of Vladimir was not a major endorsement, which is very funny.
Yes,
like the shade.
I mean, it's
true.
not really,
yeah, but it's funny.
I mean, maybe in NY16 it has a little bit more pull because she
grew up
lives
near
in
here,
the
right?
area. Yeah. But yeah, Jamal Bowman's the Planned Parenthood endorsed candidate.
I got to look into this Bowman guy.
Yeah, you should check him out.
I really appreciate you speaking.
Oh,
with me.
thanks for having me.
Absolutely.